So one of the things that I like to teach people is take a moment to check on you. Even
Yeah.
if you have to put it in your calendar so it reminds you on your phone, but check on yourself. How am I really doing? If
Hmm.
I'm that empty, what is one practical thing I could do to refill me? Even if that's just watch something that's really funny, read a book, listen to a song that I'm always going to dance to, step outside and get some sunshine, put the phone
Yes.
down and get some sleep.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to Let's Talk Sis. I'm Shekinah, your host, and as we spend time together, I can promise you three things. I'll be honest, I'll make you laugh, and I won't hold back. Let's Talk Sis is your essential girl talk destination where you'll hear about life from the perspective of a black woman in America, as our stories often go untold. I can assure you, while honest, we are a community for growth and love. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Now sit back, relax, and let's talk, sis. Hello, hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Sis. Every week that y'all decide to press play and join me, I am super excited. I couldn't thank you guys more for just spending the time with me, engaging with us. Leave us a comment. Let us know how you like the episodes, what you want to see. I'm always down for that. We're always trying to grow this community. So, as y'all know, every week I'm always trying to bring high caliber women, educated women to the stage to just share their stories, their experiences with us. And this week is no exception. I took a risk. I put myself out there, asked for some guests, asked for some people to help support this community we're trying to build. And I was fortunate enough to run into Mrs. Evolve, aka Alondra Anderson. Welcome to the show, Mrs. Evolve. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I'm doing well.
Good, good. We had such a great conversation before this moment, here. And I really was like, oh, yeah, we got to have a podcast episode. It's going to be excellent. So I'm really excited for what we're going to get into today. But before we get talking, I know y'all like, okay, well, who is this lady, right? Let me tell y'all just a little bit about her. It's time for my favorite segment, Go Off Sis. This is where I get the opportunity to just share with y'all the caliber of women that we got here today. So, Mrs. Alondra Anderson is a licensed clinical professional counselor, a certified clinical anxiety treatment professional, and brain spotting therapist. Alondra is the co founder of Abstract Touch with her husband, where they provide mental health and leadership support through counseling and transformational speaking. Alondra's greatest passion is supporting others through her healing process and self discovery of purpose, as well as educating others regarding self worth, self care, and therapeutic life skills. Alondra helps individuals learn how to trust the process, evolve beyond the current circumstances into their best purposeful self. Alondra has over a decade of stress management, and her experience spans early childhood through adult mental health. She is the mother of two children plus a fur baby, loves beaches, butterflies, and books. Welcome to the show, Miss Alondra. How are you? Well, we
Thank
are so
you.
excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
How do you feel when you hear all of that read back to you? What resonates when you hear that?
It's probably my least favorite thing. I usually think, who are they talking about? But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I am her.
Why is it your least favorite thing?
Oh, it's just so much easier to brag about somebody else.
Oh, so you like to play the back seat.
Yeah, a little bit,
Oh
a
man.
little bit.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. That's the first time I've heard that. I ask guests that all the time because, we can write up the bio or have somebody write it for us or whatever. And, you're not really resonating with it in the moment of all the
Hmm.
things that you do and the impact that you actually have. So it's just interesting, what comes up when you are on the other side and you're receiving your flowers now.
Yes.
So, before we get into who you are professionally and all the things that you do, I just want to ask you a quick little icebreaker question so we can get
Sure.
to know you a little bit. So, if
Okay.
you are skilled, degreed, and certified, so you got a lot of skills in the bag, but if you could instantly master any skill, what would it be?
Ooh. Oh, that's such a good question. Okay. If I could
And why?
instantly master any skill, oh my gosh, like 10 things came to my brain at the same time. I think I would choose today, I think I would choose massage therapy.
Really? Okay. Why?
Yeah. I First of all, I love massages. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to give it to myself, but I just think they're so helpful. They're so beneficial. And I just feel like it's a like unappreciated skill. And
Mm,
if I could have that I could offer that to others
mm,
instantly,
mm.
I would absolutely take it.
I love that your choice of skill was about service instantly
Mhm.
because I went to something so
It's okay. It's okay.
I was like, I want to sing. Mom, I want to sing. Because I already do it. I'm already singing around the house. But if I can master it and do it
Right.
well, oh, prepare to be sick of me. Prepare to be sick of me. But you're like, no,
I think that's a fair one.
I want to give to other people and serve. I love that. But that's good. That's why you're Mrs. Evolve, right?
Right.
Because clearly you have evolved beyond self. So tell me a little bit about that title. Where does it come from? What does it mean? What are all the things?
Yeah, so Mrs. Evolve kind of became on its own.
Okay.
I have always believed in a journey in life. I've always believed that we are always striving to be better, right? We're always working to improve. There's different stages. We've heard for years people talk about like you outgrow people, some people for a reason, some people for a season,
Right, right,
right?
right.
And so as I started to do my own work, I realized that I needed to evolve and accept that I was evolving, right?
Mhm.
I was holding on to some things that I really needed to let go of. I was holding on to some people I really needed to let go of. And I had to accept the fact that this is how it's supposed to go.
Mm,
And I am a lover of butterflies, obviously, as you can see.
right.
They mean so much to me for a million different reasons, but I love their journey. And I do believe that they have this kind of evolving process that we get to see. And they have to really let go of a lot of who they are to
Mhm.
become who they're supposed to be. And
Yeah.
so that is why I'm Mrs. Evolve, because I'm always trying to teach that to others and I'm trying to live it for myself.
Yeah. So when we spoke, you kind of spoke a little bit about evolution you made in a particular area in your life as regards to friendship, right? You kind of spoke on you are a wife, a mother, a mental health therapist, active in your church community. And so all of those titles automatically come with the responsibility of leadership, with the
Mhm.
responsibility of wisdom in a way, right? These people are looking for you to have answers to certain questions,
Mhm.
and strength, stability, all the things, right? But you mentioned that you've learned to kind of lean on your friends in some of those ways as well. Tell me a little bit about that evolution of, just learning how to kind of be vulnerable when you are in need of support, when you're in need of a little wisdom, knowledge,
Mhm.
expertise, etc. What does that look like?
Yeah, so I had to, one, accept the fact that I wasn't accepting help, even though I thought I was. And I once heard someone say that if you have an issue accepting help, then you really have an issue when you're giving help, right? It almost is as if you are better than, like, oh, it's okay for me to help somebody else,
Oh.
but but not me. I got it. I'll figure it out. And so that really stuck with me. And so I had to,
Like, how
uh,
are you not a person who could use a hand? Like, what
right,
makes you so special that you don't
exactly.
think you need help?
Exactly. Right. And sometimes it felt like I just wasn't privileged to
Mm,
have that. It felt like every space that I was in, like you said, people are looking to me for the answer or for the guidance or for the listening ear, for the shoulder to cry on. And that's just who I am. So it doesn't bother me to be that, but it can be a lot.
yeah.
And there's a lot of people like me, maybe they have different titles, different roles, but you are the strong friend, you are the go-to family member, you are the stable one in the relationships. And so you just kind of get used to that song and dance where you're always giving and not necessarily receiving.
Hmm.
And so I did have to go through a journey to say, that's not okay, and I have to do something different. Like I have to find the spaces where I can just be Alondra. I have to find the spaces where somebody's checking on me. And I
Yeah.
was fortunate enough that I already had the friends that wanted to be that for me. I just wasn't letting them.
Yeah.
So if they call me with an issue or just a vent, I was internalizing that as, oh, okay, well, then I don't get to say something back.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Right? When that's not what they were trying to do. They wanted it to be reciprocal. I was only letting it be one sided. So
How did
once
you
I was
find
able
that
to,
out?
so I actually
Sorry.
was angry
Uh-huh.
with a lot of my
Yeah, because
friends.
I'm just like, how do you become to realize that's what they are looking for or
Yeah, I
whatever?
was angry. I was. And I was like, these friendships don't work. It's one sided. I'm tired. It was real honest because these were very close friends. So I was very honest. I was very vulnerable. And my closest of friends were like, it never had to be that way. You
Mm,
don't tell us what's fully going on with you. You may tell us what's going on, but you don't necessarily tell us how it's impacting you. And
yeah.
so I had to own that. I
Hmm.
have to accept that that's true,
Yeah.
right? I thought I was, but maybe I really wasn't. And so I had to let them into the spaces
Hmm.
so that they could be there for me. And it's been phenomenal.
I was listening to another podcast with and the guest on there was Terry Vaughn
Hmm.
from the Steve Harvey show, Levita. And she was saying, she asked, what has her daughter taught her, just in being a mother or whatever, and that her daughter basically kind of illuminated to the fact that when she asks something, she expects to get it, and that meaning in relationships in with people and relationships in business, relationship with yourself and with the creator, that sometimes and a lot of times we don't ask for the help we need or the support we need because there's kind of this expectation that we probably won't get it or don't
Hmm.
deserve it, as you were kind
Hmm.
of alluding to. And I just found it profound to kind of think about it from that framework of having this sort of expectation and feeling of deserving and worthy of these things, because she was saying, if it comes up in your spirit that you need it or want to ask for it, instead of immediately dismissing, no, I don't need to call a friend, I don't need support, I can figure it out, I'm strong. Honor it. Maybe
Hmm.
you deserve that thing, or hey, can you grab me a water from out the fridge, or something as simple as that. If it comes up in you, honor these desires and requests of your spirit, and finding those spaces where you can exist in that way. And so it just kind of reminded me a little bit about that. So for people who are maybe struggling in their own friendships, how do you go about having that conversation? Like, what do you say? What do you bring up? Like, I want you to ask me more question. Like, I don't, what
Right.
do you say? Like, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean, what I like
No,
to tell people
it's
is
so awkward sometimes.
we have to have the uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of times we won't even start a conversation because it feels kind of cringy to us if we're like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say anything.
Yes.
But that's the very one that we need to have, and the relationship will be better for it. Even
Yeah.
if it ends up that the relationship can't provide that for us,
Mm.
at least now we know,
Wow, that's so
right?
good.
Instead of us avoiding it and staying stuck in what's not working. So we have to have the uncomfortable conversation. And it can really start with, I need to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking,
Mm.
and I feel like in a lot of my friendships, I'm giving a whole lot more than I'm receiving. And though I'm giving it sincerely, I'm giving it genuinely, I also need a friend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It
That's
can be that honest.
yes. So, what are some practical things? You kind of gave a little bit of framework of a conversation, right? Just then. But before I have this conversation, right, before I come to my friend, what are some things I can do? Because I can imagine somebody saying and responding to that, okay, well, what do you want from me? You know, I don't know. I want
Right.
you to be a better friend,
Right.
So how do we figure that out? Like, how do we have a follow up of, okay, I want this, I would like that, I could imagine our friendship being this, or is
Mhm.
it just, yeah, I don't know, you just got to fumble your way through it.
Mhm. So a little bit of both, right? You
Okay.
don't necessarily have to have it all figured out. Most of our life journey, we're kind of figuring out as we go.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, it is important to have kind of a conversation with yourself first before you go have a conversation with someone else. So, okay, maybe you've been feeling drained a lot lately. Maybe when that phone rings or that text comes in and you kind of hesitate to answer, or you swipe it off your phone, I'll read it later because you already assume they need something from me,
Yeah.
right? Maybe that's the feeling that's been lingering. Stop and have a moment with yourself first. Why am I avoiding this phone call? Why am I avoiding this text message? What's wrong, right? Like what's actually going on with me? Because a lot of times, especially as women, we don't check on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We are really good on checking on everybody else, even the pets,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't check on ourselves.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I like to teach people is take a moment to check on you. Even
Yeah.
if you have to put it in your calendar so it reminds you on your phone, but check on yourself. How am I really doing?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm that empty, what is one practical thing I could do to refill me? Even if that's just watch something that's really funny, read a book, listen to a song that I'm always going to dance to, step outside and get some sunshine, put the phone
Yes.
down and get some sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of times we sacrifice sleep because that's the only time of the day that we get to have a moment for ourselves.
Right.
But we really need the sleep.
Right.
Right. So finding these small other ways to just do something for me. Cook
Mm-hmm.
this dinner because I like to eat it.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Get that nail polish color because that's my favorite color. Wear the shirt.
Yeah.
Go to the movie, right? It doesn't have to
Yes.
necessarily cost you money, but do something intentional.
I love these little practical things that you're bringing up, these little examples, because it's funny you mention it because it feels so silly, but it's so therapeutic. So, to tell my business, I I do my nails. I do my own nails. I like to
Oh, I should have picked that skill set.
right? I'm no professional by any means. And I be looking at him like, girl, if I paid for this, I would be really upset, but I didn't, so I'm okay. It'll work. And the other day I'm doing my nails, and my mom's thing has always been, your those nails are too long. Those nails are too long. Those nails are too long. And I've always just had that like tape in the back of my head. And I don't personally agree. She has her reasons to why she doesn't like the thing, but
Mm-hmm.
I have found, and I'm using this as it's a very small example, but it's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I found myself compromising what I actually like based on her opinion. And I think we do that in so many different areas of
Yes.
our life. I'm saying my nails, but it's everything. It
Mm-hmm.
happens in everything based on someone's opinion or feeling or whatever about how something should go influences us, and then we make these decisions. And just bring it back to what you're saying. I'm doing my nails and I'm like, girl, make them long. Do
Mm-hmm.
all the length. Like, what is it gonna hurt? You know what I mean? Like, you can try it. And for some points, it was for work, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't got that problem no more. So now I can do what I want to do. I can do the
Right.
long nails, and it was just a fun thing that
That
fulfilled
was just for
me in
you.
a way that, and maybe I wear them and they're absolutely not practical and I hate it. Like this length is comfortable, but the ones I'm talking about were like this
Mm-hmm.
long. I would probably actually never wear that in real life, but it's for the point of what you're saying. Like, let me just do something fun to just
Mm-hmm.
fulfill me, to make me okay in this moment, to check on me, like, and to really think, well, why aren't you doing that? Why?
Right.
And what is the reason? And sometimes it's very good reason. Girl, you're not wearing them long nails because you can't button your pants. Like,
Right. Right.
it makes sense. Got it. Cool. Okay, don't do that. But sometimes it's because, well, she said she didn't like it, so I don't do it anymore. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
that's not a thing to hinge your life on. And
Right.
again, I'm using this small example of nails, but
Mm-hmm.
take
Right. But we do
metaphor
that. We will stop doing something that doesn't harm anyone.
at all.
But we will stop doing the thing that brings us joy because it doesn't bring somebody else joy.
Right. Right. And that's so good. I thank you. So, can you one of your, speaking of practicality, one of your big things and that we spoke about in working with your clients is giving them these applicable practical skills, right, that they
Mm-hmm.
can take home and work on. Why is that so important? And do you find that's a major differentiating factor between you and other people in your industry?
So I do think that it's something that has caused me to stand apart or stand out because I just don't want there to be a barrier. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of courage, a lot of effort to work on our mental health. Okay, it's not easy. If
Mhm.
somebody told you it's easy, they lied to you
Okay.
because it is a whole lot easier to blame others than
Yeah,
to face yourself. So
absolutely.
it's hard work in the first place. So if you take the step to say, I want to do this work and I want to work with a professional, well, I'm going to be very intentional to get to know you so that I can understand how your life works right now. If you are a person that's saying, I'm super busy, I don't have time for me, I'm not going to tell you, okay, you need to carve out 2 hours every day just for
Mhm.
you because
Mhm.
it's not
Mhm.
realistic
Mhm.
and you're
Right.
not going to do
And
it.
you're not gonna do it. Yeah.
You're not going to do it.
Right.
But if I say every day when you brush your teeth, I need you to smile at yourself in the mirror,
Mm.
it's doable.
Yes.
And you will actually notice I don't ever look at me.
Mm.
I'm looking in the mirror, but I don't actually look at me. Right. And so that is why I am intentional to teach practical but small and realistic steps because you'll do them. And it doesn't take big things for change, it takes intentional things.
Tracy, listen. I'm sorry. Alondra, listen. So sorry. I done did three other episodes this morning. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Alondra, listen. Okay. What you just said really hit me because brushing your teeth but not looking at yourself in the mirror. When I tell you one day I used to always look in the mirror actually when I was younger. I used to always look in the mirror. And I don't know, it wasn't like a vanity thing. It was a, okay, this is how my lips look. This is how, oh, I have a little scar right here. I have a this, like, I just was always just kind of becoming comfortable owning my body, I guess, and all of its things, right? And that was just me. I was just cool with that. Okay, cool. And even as I got older, all right, you got a little this, you got a little that here and there. But from a young age, I guess, realized that I really wanted to have a sense of, I don't know if the word is control, not even control, contentment, I guess, with what it was, right? I was born into this. This is what it's going to be, right? I, for whatever reason, stopped really looking in the mirror. And that's a whole nother probably therapy session we got to do later. But one day I did, like, I really kind of started looking in them, and I was not pleased. I was
Mm.
not pleased. Like, I could just see someone I did not recognize. And I'm like, but it's you, but it's not me, but it's me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not me. And I'm trying not to cry right now, guys. So forgive me. But it was very impactful. And I didn't have the assignment necessarily of looking in the mirror and doing that. But when you say that, I realized that is what I did. I did look and was like, ooh, who argue really, and from a weight standpoint, from not being happy physically, gaining weight, and like I got my face is fatter and all these things that are now, because like I said, it was important for me to be confident in my body. Not that I had to be a size 0 ever, but I
Mm-hmm.
did need to feel comfortable, and I wasn't. I don't like none of that that I see,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And not because I can't control it. Before, it was, this is what you was born into. This is what God gave you to work with. Okay, cool. But now you've added some controllable factors of you eating too much, you're not being active, you're not watching what you eat into it, and now this is what you did, right? Like, now
Right.
you have ownership. So that is so powerful, just what you're saying, on a metaphorical level and a literal looking in the mirror and seeing what it is. Because on a spiritual piece too, it was, there's a lot of stuff emotionally, spiritually, with God, with myself personally, that I'm just not looking at. I'm just not looking at.
Right.
I wasn't seeking God. I wasn't trying to continue to learn myself and what I like and what I don't like. I was just in this survival mode situation. And so thank you for kind of putting words and, again, a practicality to that experience for me.
Yeah, I'm glad that you did that. I'm glad because most people don't.
Yeah.
That we don't even realize we're not.
And that was the thing. I really just looked and was like, whoa. Like, I really just, I don't know. I just was
Mm-hmm.
really like, let me look at myself for a second. And
Mm-hmm.
it was not good.
Yeah. But that's why the small but practical things work because they're doable, they're realistic, you can do it immediately, and they have a major impact.
So, I'm going to thank you. I'm going to take a little bit of a left.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like working with your husband?
Okay, most of the time it's good.
Okay, okay, but I want to know, like, that's cool, but the other times.
Right. But the other times it's challenging. I mean, we are definitely different people.
Yeah.
As much as I am out front, I am much more comfortable behind the scenes.
Okay.
That's just not where God has me anymore. And I just had to accept it and lean into it.
Sure.
But he is just leap out there and it's gonna work out. And I'm like, oh, hold on, wait a
Mm-hmm,
minute.
mm-hmm,
Right. So it's good because it allows the business to be what it was meant to be
mm-hmm.
and not just what feels safe and secure
What
to
feels
me in the
safe?
moment. So that is good. And we had to set some boundaries, right? Like this is my husband. So
Mm.
we live together, we have children together, right?
Hello.
Like
Yeah.
this is my husband. So we had to set some boundaries around the business to make sure we're having business discussion during business hours. This is never a discussion to come into our bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we had to kind of figure that out and what works for us. And so we literally have team meetings, right? We sit down and we have these discussions and make sure that we're on the same page about the business. We discuss things with each other, but we do not bring it out
To
of the
the
office.
Tell me, this is a personal question, okay? Sorry, podcast listeners, y'all can go ahead and log off. This is all me right now. How do we have, when I say we, I mean me and my partner, my boyfriend, how do we have productive check-ins to where they don't feel like any one person is being harped on, any one person is being, beat up? Also, to love on each other, to grow closer to each other. Like, what do we need to do? All the things, because we haven't necessarily seen a long term healthy relationship dynamic, in our personal lives. So what does that look like? What are some tips, tricks, tools? Help us sister out, please.
Okay, so first, let me say, I don't want you to think that you're at a deficit because you don't have an example close by.
Right.
Because sometimes you can hold that example so high that you're trying to mirror it, and that's not going to work for your relationship.
Great
So
point.
don't think that you're at a deficit for that. Okay.
Okay.
Secondly, I am still a work in progress.
Yeah.
So don't think that just because I know these tips that I always remember to choose them because I'm human just like everybody else.
That part.
And
That part.
so, with that being said,
Yes.
it is important to have these check-ins, right? They have been definitely been a part of our relationship, my husband and I. It'll be 20 years come August.
Mm.
So we are still a work in progress, but
Mhm. We
having
getting
these
there.
check-ins are necessary
Yeah.
because, like we talked about before, these unspoken expectations can bite us in the butt,
Hmm.
right? So we need to talk to each other,
Hmm.
but we have to be intentional about it. So I would say outside of the home, I don't know if you all live together or not, but
Yeah.
outside of your homes, um, if possible. If not, definitely outside of the bedroom.
Okay.
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 Outside of the home, if possible, even if that means sitting in your car
Why
and have the
why is
conversation
that
face to face.
so important? Because a lot of people might say I don't want to go in public and have everybody listen on
Right.
what we got going on.
Yeah. So, and that's a fair point. I say outside of the home because you're bringing up a lot of stuff and you don't want that lingering,
Mm.
right? Because
So
if it
basically
can
when
be
we leave
resolved,
this park, it's over with.
we're not
Mhm.
bringing that back into our house. We're not
That's
taking that
such a good
into
point.
our bedroom.
Yeah.
That was a conversation for there. Now, if we need to go back there tomorrow to finish this conversation, we can, but
Mhm.
that's a conversation for there. We don't need to bring that into our home because our home is for peace.
I'm gonna tell you that's very powerful because I think putting that closure on that conversation is so underrated,
Mhm.
because there is something to being like, okay, we're gonna check it at the door. We're
Mhm.
gonna check it at the door. We said what we
Mhm.
was gonna say, but now I'm still gotta look at you, and now I'm
Right.
just in the other room. I hear you on the other side breathing,
Right.
and blinking, and
Right. Yeah. And if it's in your home, then when you go right back into that space, you're
yeah,
right back in that mindset.
you were
So
sitting
now when you
right
walk in the
there when
living
you
room, you're like,
told
and
me.
another thing, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
right back
That's
into it.
good.
So keeping
Right.
that is if it's in your backyard, if it's on your patio. My husband and I used to walk around our apartment complex. That was our time. By the time we get back to that apartment door, we gotta stop this conversation.
And that's good too because it sets up some boundaries to
Mhm.
where, again, not only a physical space of outside of this is done, but if you're doing something like what you're saying, there's that time boundary. You got 1 mile,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
30
And because
minutes.
you're in public, you're not going to be screaming at each other.
Right,
You're actually going to
right,
talk to each other.
right, right.
So it's
So,
also going to help you to keep that boundary in place. And you don't just want to say what's wrong. You need to
mhm,
also say what's right.
mhm, mhm,
Don't just say what you don't want or what you don't like. Tell them what was good this week.
mhm, mhm.
Don't assume they know.
That's so good too. So what is that what is that conversation like? Like, okay, because I think that's hard too. That's awkward sometimes too. I don't
Mhm.
know how to say what I want to say or bring up what I want to say, and maybe however I say it, you get offended, or are there, like, even boundaries around the way we converse? Okay, now we know where we need to do it, but even the way in
Mhm.
which we exchange. What is the
Yeah.
obviously, not yelling, not cussing, being
Right.
respectful, but okay, we can do that, but we still ain't getting nowhere. So like,
Right.
what are
Right.
we
Yeah.
missing?
So communication is hard, right?
Yeah.
It is one of the hardest things because two people can say the exact same word and
Mm.
mean something totally different. And
Okay.
so now it's a whole second argument because one of you comes back and says, well, you said this last week and I did it and you still mad. Right.
Right,
And you're
right, right,
like,
right.
because you didn't do what I said, because you
Right.
said the same word, but you meant something different. So
Mhm.
in the conversation, you have to make sure that you understand. So if you're talking to each other and one of you is saying, Like, I feel like you don't listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when
Mm-hmm.
you say I don't listen to you, what does that mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that I am listening to you.
Right. Right. Right.
Right. So now I have to walk away with my understanding of what, even if I'm like, that's stupid, that's not even what that word means. Right. But I now know that's what that means when you say it.
Right. Right.
So trying to
Okay.
make sure that you really understand, because it's so easy to assume we're saying the same thing. And most of the time we're not, because we don't see life the same way.
I think that's so, so valuable. I don't think a lot of times I'm guilty of it, especially, and we only been together 4 years, child. Okay. Y'all on 20 going on 40, and so it's easy to assume that we speak the same language, right? Because you get me. Most of the times you get me. You
Most of the
understand when
time.
I say left, I actually mean right. And you
Mm-hmm.
know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, but I think it is very easy to assume that when they say bad, they actually meant good. But you
Right.
didn't know that because we
Right.
didn't take the moment to ask, oh, well, what did you mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me it's so easy because you get on defense mode and you get on,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm not bad.
Right.
Actually, you are pretty bad, girl,
Right.
and so it's just like, well, what did you mean, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I think that's such an underrated part of that check-in, that healthy communication. And y'all, this applies to a lot of relationships. Again, this is a
Absolutely. With your
personal
children,
session.
with your parents, at work,
Right,
communication is hard.
right,
And a
right.
lot of times things are miscommunicated just because we said the same thing. So we thought we were in agreement and
Mhm.
we're not, because we
Not at
meant
all.
something different.
Yes.
And starting the
Thank you.
conversations isn't easy, like
Yeah.
you said, but if you set aside this time, like we're going to check in with each other every Friday night, whatever
Right.
that is, right?
Mhm.
Then you both know, okay, this conversation is happening. This is the conversation where we're going to say something that we got a problem with or concern with. But this is also the conversation where we're going to really love on each other and make sure the other knows how appreciated they are.
Mhm.
Both of these go into this moment.
So that was going to be my next question. Is there a system where it should be one or the other, both and sandwich method? Like, what is that
So I'm
framework
a fan of
look
both.
like?
I don't
Okay.
think that you should have a conversation that's just negative. If
Okay.
relationship isn't just negative,
Right.
no matter who you're talking to, your partner, your parent, your spouse, whatever. It shouldn't just be negative. If there is good in this relationship, there should be good in this conversation. And not that like I'm trying to appease you,
Mhm.
let
Mhm.
me see your
Mhm.
shoes
Mhm.
cute,
Yeah.
kind of compliment,
But no,
but
you
a
filled my water bottle
genuine
this morning. Like, I really appreciate that kind of
yes,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because we need to know and we want to know when we are
Yeah.
having a relationship with someone that we care about, we want to show up in a good way for them.
Right.
So we want to know that what we're doing is helping.
Okay, so we're on this walk, right? We got a mile. We about 0.7 miles in, then talked about, no, let me put it the other way. We about 0.3 miles in, we done talked about the bad stuff, right? It's been bad. Okay, we 0.6 miles in, we still on the bad. 0.8, how do we wrap it up, put a button on it to be able to put the good in there? Also, we need to
Hmm.
have time because, again, okay, we got this framework, we got to be practical. We only got 20 minutes left. I still
Right.
need to praise you in this way, but I don't feel understood or heard or whatever in this way. How can we reconcile that within this practical,
Sure. So
framework?
hopefully, if you're doing this on a regular basis, you don't have a long list to try
Okay.
to get through.
Yep.
And sometimes, even when it's just one thing, it can take
It
a
could
lot
take a
to get
while.
the person to really understand. Because maybe it's something you've been feeling for a while, and this is your first time saying it out loud.
Right.
You've been feeling it for a while. Don't expect it to be resolved in 20 minutes.
Okay.
This is me just informing you. And you can preface it that way. I don't know if we'll be able to resolve this today, but I do know you need to know.
That's really good. That's why you are who you are, and you are that girl, because you do think, okay, we got to figure it out right now when we're talking about it. That is so Good. I just need to let you know. No, I'm being so serious because I'm that person where it's like, well, if we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it, let's figure it out. Otherwise, what are
Hmm.
we saying it for? You know?
Right.
But there is something to this aspect, like we may not figure it out right now.
But
And
at least
I don't
now
want
we
to be
both
talking about it
know.
all night. And I don't want to be in my feelings about it all night.
Yeah.
I don't want you not talking to me not talking to you because we couldn't figure it
Hmm.
out right now,
Right.
right? And
And
there
that takes the pressure off too.
yes. And there is a necessity sometimes in letting things breathe and coming
Hmm.
back and having these revelations as I am right now, you
Right.
know,
Right. Because you
about
also have to remember this is brand new information to that other
correct.
person. So
Yeah.
they might need a minute to kind of sit with what you just informed me of.
Yeah.
And now we can have a conversation about, okay, so how do we move forward with this?
And that takes pressure not only off of the person getting the feedback, but giving the feedback because sometimes for me, I don't give feedback because there is no immediate. I don't know the solution.
Right.
So I'm not just going to complain about it. I ain't going to talk. I'll just deal with it, right?
Hmm.
I'll just deal with not feeling heard or not feeling seen or not feeling appreciated right now
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
don't really know what I need, where, why it made me feel that way, first of all, or that you could have even done anything differently or
Right.
what you could have, like, so I think that's so good to free yourself to just be like, look, I just need to let you know the other day when whoop de whoop, 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 I felt like this. I don't really know,
Hmm.
what all that means, but this is kind of what came up for me. And so, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
So, when it comes to then, okay, we may not resolve it,
Hmm.
we may not, figure it out. How do we bring it back to get it resolved, right? It's how is that, because that can often be a little weird dynamic too, right? Like, okay, yeah, you told me this was a problem, but am I supposed to come back to you and be like, is this solution? You're supposed to come back to me, and how do we how do we do that? How do we navigate that
Right.
landmine?
Yeah. So that may be different relationship to relationship, couple to couple. For some people, you may be able to have a conversation the next day in your house because
Mm,
now it really is just a conversation. We both have this knowledge. This isn't an argument. We're actually trying to figure out what can we try. If
mhm,
you're on that walk and you realize, like, okay, I don't know if we can really solve this today, you can maybe think of one thing, like one thing that we want to try this week.
mm,
Maybe we're going to check in with each other about this specific thing, or we're going to make sure that we touch, hold hands, give each other a hug, give each other a kiss, like some type of touch that's not just in the bed,
mm,
right? That we make sure that this doesn't disconnect us while we're
mm.
trying to figure it out. And then you have the agreement that we're going to talk about this on our next walk.
Mm-hmm. I think that's so good. That's so simple and practical, like we spoke about before.
Hmm.
Some reasonable resolve. Because for me, I need a button on the situation. I need
Hmm.
something to, like I said, I need to leave here with something. Okay.
Right.
I didn't just because I'm so emotional, right? That's a vulnerable place for me.
Hmm.
I didn't just bear my feelings to be like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Right.
Like that is gonna make me upset, right?
Hmm.
Before I was just hurt or whatever. Now I'm upset because I feel dismissed. But and to my partner's credit, he's not the emoting type. He's
Hmm.
not the again, he works in IT and
Hmm.
he's a stereotypical IT type guy. Like he's very lone, don't communication is not his top priority,
Hmm.
like it might be for myself. So that creates a lot of conflict sometimes. And so I think a healthy like compromise, like what you're saying, okay, just one thing we can do.
Hmm.
Just one thing, right? And sometimes that one thing is I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna reflect on it, take a couple notes, and next time we talk, we're gonna talk about it.
Right.
Or and or or intentionally doing something to create this connection that you spoke about, right?
Mm-hmm.
We gonna hold hands. Okay, we gonna cuddle tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, you may not like me, I may not like you, but we gonna cuddle, or we're gonna watch this movie, or whatever it might be, to intentionally bring ourselves together, however uncomfortable
Right.
it might be. So
Mm-hmm.
thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
so much, Mrs. Evolve. I have evolved myself in this
See?
conversation, and I appreciate
Good.
that because I think that is really tough for a lot of couples,
Mm-hmm.
and really just figuring out again the practicality of it all. We hear communication and be open, vulnerable, you got to talk and da 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 da, but like, okay, girl, how?
But
Cuz I'm
how?
not feeling you right now.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you not feeling me, and we not getting on one accord. So what can we actually do is
Mm-hmm.
so helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So, Alondra, tell the people, what do you have? I done picked your brain enough, but what what do you have going on? Where can we support you for those people who want to be a little more involved in some of the work you're doing to evolve? How can
Yeah.
they find you?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
So I am at Mrs. Evolve on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can
Yes.
absolutely follow me there. You can go to my website, abstracttouch.com, and you can join in for the newsletter and updates. So anytime we're having workshops, whether they're virtual or in person, you would be the first to know. So you definitely can join that as well. I am licensed in Texas and Illinois. So if you are in one of those states, because unfortunately licensure is state to state. So
Yeah.
if you're in one of those states, I would be happy to have a consultation with you to see if I'm a good fit for you for therapy. And then as a transformational speaker, I travel and I do virtual. So if you have an organization or a company or a group or a church and you're like, I think we need this person to come talk to us, give me a call.
Perfect. Perfect. She said she's ready. Book her. She's available. Listen,
Yeah.
thank you so much. And to my audience, to my listeners, if y'all didn't get nothing out of this conversation, I know I said this a lot, but really, you were not listening. Like, I really mean that. I know that to be true because sis dropped some gems. She dropped such practical advice. It's one thing to be able to talk above a subject, but to give us something we can get down in the trenches with and take away is just so good to me. So I really love that. And y'all listening, please be sure to subscribe, to follow us on all platforms. The Let's Talk Sis podcast. We are out there. We are trying to grow this community of women. If you know somebody that looks like either of us or looks like you, just share the podcast. Give us a little help in that area and getting the word out. I appreciate y'all, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.